Just in terms of how the UK remains competitive, and continues to attract that investment, what are, would you say, the key challenges to that happening?
Policy drivers are a really important part of what makes the UK competitive. So areas like our red tape challenge, that government has said we'll take 2 pieces of red tape out for every 1 piece that we put in, is really important. The regulatory environment and ensuring the consistency of the regulatory environment is really important. Obviously, when one is making an investment decision, you want to be very clear on the environment in which you're making the decision, because it's generally for the longer term. So consistency and transparency are really important. And so the relationship between regulators and government, and ensuring that that is at arm's length but is conducive to encouraging investment, is an important part of why we can attract. Access to markets is really important. We have more European headquarters of non-EU headquartered companies than France, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands put together. So we are a very attractive location for European headquarter operations.
You talked about almost 2,000 projects coming into the UK, but the split of those, a significant proportion, do fall into London. And I just wondered if that distribution might change with things like the Northern Powerhouse, or if you were doing anything to sort of help it change.
Government has a strategy of trying to rebalance the economy towards the North and the Midlands, and you refer to Northern Powerhouse. You're right to say that a large number come into London and the South East, and London and the South East is growing at a faster rate than the North and the North East. Whereas as an organisation, we are really focused on the UK and attracting investment into the UK. We're also focused on attracting investment into the Northern Powerhouse region and into the Midlands engine region. So we are putting more of our resources than we have done in the past into attracting businesses into that area. And this is going in parallel with some of the infrastructure development, which you will have seen, not only the high-speed 2 but also the cross Pennines, transportation and road links, and the infrastructure that the National Infrastructure Commission is really trying to support. So what we are then doing is focusing on, okay, what are the businesses that the UK in those areas can provide the competitive advantage. So we're taking groups of people, sometimes from countries, sometimes from industries, from sectors, and working with them to see how they can invest in those operations in those areas. That's one area. The other is that I mentioned some 2,000 projects. Of those 2,000 projects, about 60% are expansions of investment from existing investors.
Okay.
So rather like you in Deloitte with your account management of your accounts, we do the same thing in government. Yeah. So we're looking to see how we can take an expansion of an operation, not necessarily on the same site, but an operation, and we're looking to see whether we can encourage it into areas such as the Northern Powerhouse or the Midlands engine.
Okay. Finally, you've talked about going outside London and the South East and sort of the different opportunities, but are there different sectors that you would see as being the future of sort of investment and research and development over the next few years, where companies could be thinking about encouraging investment?
Sectors are extremely important. I mean, one of the changes that I've brought in since I took on this role has been focused targeting. So, and what I mean by that is looking at our UK industrial strategy or industrial approaches to see that the types of businesses that we want to encourage, and therefore we should have an investment strategy. And let me give you an example. automotive. We're now producing 1.6, 1.7 million cars in the UK. Back in 2012, we, with the Automotive Council, which is joint government and private sector, worked out that there's £3 billion of imports for 1.5 million cars, which we were then forecasting for 2015. £3 billion of imports of products that we don't produce or didn't produce in the UK. Wire wheels, for example. A lot of wire wheels in motor cars come from Italy. So we said, well, if we can focus on those companies, and let's say there were 200 companies in that cadre, we know that the size of the prize is 3 billion of import substitution. We know they have existing relationships with the OEMs. And so if we can encourage those companies by focus targeting them, to encourage them to come to the UK, and using our trade and investment organisation, we can help them to export from the UK, then we actually get a double whammy, because we replace imports, import substitution, and we help exports, and we create jobs here. And in the 2,000 projects that I mentioned, we were associated with helping to create over 88,000 of new jobs last year, and safeguarding another 20,000 jobs last year. So it's a very rewarding activity that I'm involved in.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for coming and sharing your thoughts on, how the UK has got to where it's got to in terms of being the #1 destination in Europe for inward investment, but also, shedding a light on how we can continue to keep that success. So, thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.